Life-giving water streams, blue skies, and green pastures. Isn't nature just lovely? And to protect this very nature is why automakers around the world are making electric vehicles. Vehicles that run on green energy, don't produce any tailpipe emission, and today we have one such electric vehicle with us. And it comes from a manufacturer that is known to always look forward towards sustainability, towards safety, and towards innovation. This is the Volvo C40 Recharge, the latest offering by the company in India. Today we are driving it, and the company says that this is a vehicle that you might not need, but you would want. So, does it really have all the factors that would make you want this vehicle? Let's find out. Now, I have one word for both this location that we are at and this vehicle. Breathtaking. Simply breathtaking. Now, this is a very familiar Volvo design. In fact, if you see the XC40, you will see a lot of similar hints. The big difference is, of course, at the back, and we'll get to it. But at the front, you can see, obviously, because this is an electric vehicle, so you get a body-colored grille which is closed off. And it's a very neat and minimal design. The headlamps have something special. What Volvo says is that there are 84 individual pixels, which means that the headlight can be modulated automatically so as not to blind the oncoming traffic, which is a great safety feature. According to Volvo again, they say that up to 5 vehicles can be accommodated with this LED setup. Now this is where the party is at. Unlike the XC40, which is like a conventional upright SUV, this one tapers off towards the back, which means you get this really stunning looking design, which looks great in pictures and in person as well. You have this roof mounted spoiler with these two scoops of sorts, and also a boot mounted spoiler right here, and they both not only look good, but they also make the car a little more slippy, which has resulted in 4% more range in this vehicle. Then you obviously have these signature tail lights, which now extend all the way into the boot, and they also have a welcome function wherein the light has a sort of animation going up and down. So the view that you're seeing right now in this frame is definitely the best angle for this vehicle. Even the bold lettering here adds to the overall design, and the 19-inch alloy wheels, the dual tone ones, they also have a closed off design, but here Volvo has managed to make an EV alloy wheel, I would say, which does actually look good and not just utilitarian. So overall, I will give this basically full marks in terms of the looks department. I think personally, I really like this design philosophy. Obviously, design is subjective. I would love to know your thoughts on the design of this vehicle. Now, let's get inside the vehicle and see what kind of features it has. Now we are inside the cabin of the C40 Recharge, and it is a typical Volvo cabin, which means that you have some familiar design elements and you have a rather minimal looking cabin right here. Now, spoiler alert, if you look at some of the other vehicles in the market which have been stuffed with features, this might feel a little light, but it does have all the basic things that you want, and things do tend to work really well. I'll start off with the seats. Now, right now you can see that I am 6 feet tall and I have ample space, good amount of headroom, and even if you have a passenger over here, you won't be fighting for shoulder room and elbow room too much. There is an armrest which can be opened to reveal some storage area and dustbin over here. But coming back to the seat, it has power adjustment, so you don't have to manually pull it ahead or at the back. You have good lumbar support as well, lumbar adjustment as well. So that way, I think the seat is really nice. In the short drive that we had, I did not find any complaints. A unique thing about this entire cabin, just by the way, is that it is leather free. Volvo has used a lot of recycled material. In fact, they told us that 71 plastic bottles are used to make a set of mats for this vehicle right here. Now back to the feature set, you have this round and chunky steering wheel with a few controls on it, behind which is a brilliant looking 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster. It does show you the map, the speed, and what mode you are in, as in if you're in reverse, neutral, or drive. Now this is a good looking display. Yes, it does not have, again, like I said, a lot, but the UI design is very neat and I like it. In the center of the dashboard, you have the familiar 9-inch vertically mounted touchscreen infotainment system with Google built in, and the company says that instead of 4 years, now you get this for 5 years without any cost. So that is also great in terms of being value for money. The touch response is good. It does lag at times, and sometimes when you're changing songs it can take a little while, but otherwise it has got all the functionality that you want. One thing that I have not liked in previous Volvo cars and this one as well is that the AC controls are all touchscreen, so you don't have a physical button for changing the fan speed or changing the climate temperature. So that ways I think they could have done a little better. You have obviously two cup holders here, a storage space over here, and a wireless charging pad for the phone, two USB Type-C charging ports as well, and the door pockets also have plenty of room. And you have this unique texture on the dashboard and on the door. Now this might look simple, it is like a topographical view of the land, but when it's dark it illuminates itself, which looks cool. It also comes with what I would call a idiot-proof sunroof. Yes, you have a large panoramic sunroof, but this is sealed. You can't open it, which means you do get the lovely view of the things outside, but you cannot poke your head out, which is great because you shouldn't be doing that, because a lot of people do that on moving vehicles and that can be very dangerous. So this is a very good option. Now let's head towards the back and see what all is there. And now we are in the second row, and this is where things do turn out a little bad for the XC40, because the first thing that you'll notice is that the angle of the backrest is a little too steep. So that means going on a longer journey would not be as comfortable as some other cars. The cushioning itself is really nice. I will say it's a comfortable material, but it's just that the backrest angle can get a little uncomfortable. Surprisingly though, even after having a sloping roofline, there seems to be a decent amount of headroom, considering I am 6 feet tall. If you are a little shorter than me, then again this will be plenty for you, so that way it's fine. The knee room is plenty, leg room is good, but hardly any under thigh support. Now if you want to seat someone in the middle row, I would say you should not do that unless and until you do not like that person, because the armrest right here, well, it bulges out a little more than the seats. Plus you have this transmission tunnel, despite this being an electric vehicle, despite this not getting an ICE variant. So that way anyone in the middle row will not have a great time unless and until you're going for a very short 10-15 minute drive. So for two people this is still enough room, but the backrest angle does let you down. Obviously you get AC vents and two USB Type-C charging ports, and the doors also have a decent amount of space to hold one bottle. Otherwise this looks like a decent place to be in, only for shorter journeys. A similar thing happens in the boot area as well, even though by itself the space is decent enough, but because there is a spare wheel over there, it does eat up the area that you would otherwise use for keeping your luggage. So that is something you will have to contend with. Now you are joining me on a very tight and twisty section in Lonavala. We're going through the hilly areas, and that means the roads are narrow, they're a bit broken, and they're giving us a good chance to, well, test how well the steering and the suspension response is. I am decently surprised because the steering wheel, while it is on the lighter side, but there is enough response. Even if you give minute inputs, you do feel the car change directions, so that is good. And I've been able to accurately place this compact SUV where I want it to. And as you can also hear that we are going over a really bad section, and the suspension is doing a good job of soaking in a lot of the impact without being too soft. So there is decent amount of firmness in them, but more importantly, it is soaking in the bumps rather well. Now, since we are on smoother roads, let's talk about the battery and motor setup. So you get twin motors, one at the front axle and one at the rear. These motors provide a combined power output of 408 horsepower and 660 Newton meters of torque. The bias is towards the rear, so you have a 60-40 split. That means you get a little more power at the rear, and that makes this a fun to drive vehicle for sure. And because the power and torque numbers are plenty, you can easily push this vehicle, and even if you have 4 people inside, there will not be too much of a performance dip. Like I mentioned, we are on the hilly section of Lonavala, and there have been instances where we have come to a proper standstill on a steep climb, and the vehicle has still had no trouble climbing back up when we gave the input to the accelerator. So that is good. Even if you live in hilly areas, this will have no problem dealing with gradients. Now, I like the way Volvo has mapped the accelerator pedal response, because initially in about 20% of the travel you have a very gradual and slow response, which is great for city driving. But the moment you press it a little harder, you get this instant surge of acceleration and all the torque hitting you right in your face, which you would expect from an EV that is generating 408 horsepower and 660 Newton meters. So if you're driving in the city, you can be assured that the vehicle will have a more gentle and a more mature response in stop and go traffic. And when you want to quickly overtake a vehicle, this one can just shoot off like anything. This vehicle comes with a rather large 78 kilowatt hour battery pack, which results in a claimed WLTP range of 530 kilometers on a single charge, meaning this should be good for everyday usage and very practical on longer journeys as well. The C40 Recharge also comes with a single pedal driving mode, which means that you can basically use the accelerator pedal to drive the vehicle. You have to use the brake pedal less. So if you're driving normally, if you let go of the accelerator pedal, the car will start to reduce its speed, the brakes will be engaged, and if you let go suddenly, it'll almost act like you are pressing the brake pedal. Now this puts back energy into the battery pack, further extending the range. Now this being a Volvo, it does come with 5-star rating, and this is Euro NCAP 5-star rating, which means that it is also certified for pedestrian protection, and that makes this a very safe car. You also get ADAS features with this, so you have 5 cameras and a couple of sensors which monitor various things and provide assistance features like lane keep assist, automatic braking and the likes. So if you're sitting in a Volvo, I think you can leave any worry about safety out the door, because these cars are built with a lot of thought and with a lot of intelligence in mind. Before I talk about how I feel about the vehicle, I'll say what I'm feeling inside right now. I definitely needed this time away from the city in this beautiful location and with this lovely vehicle, and this location which was suggested by my camera person Jatin, who's behind the camera right now, so thanks to him. But yeah, coming back to the vehicle and the job at hand, I'm definitely liking what I see. I mean, that whole line about wanting and not needing, the design definitely justifies that statement. This is a vehicle, especially with that sloping roofline, this is a vehicle that you would want to have in your garage. It has that desirability factor. Even in terms of driving, it is pretty calm, it has decent power, and the range is also usable in my opinion. Now the interior is where I would say it's maybe not as competitive or as feature loaded as some of the competition, but still it does get all the basics right, and usually you would not want anything too much extra. Now, as for the price, well, this will be a little more expensive than the existing XC40 Recharge, which would mean that it would be close to 60 lakh rupees ex-showroom, and the launch is going to happen on 4th of September, while the bookings will open the next day. So we'll get a clear picture of the price on 4th, but until then, what I can say is the price bracket where it sits at, well, you have certain other EVs which are maybe a little more expensive than this or a little less. So there really isn't a direct competitor, I would say, except for maybe the XC40 itself. So this one, the C40 Recharge, is kind of on its own right now. Now, depending on your preferences for certain features, or if you want more interior features, more uh, gimmicks and quirks in your vehicle, then maybe you can look towards other vehicles. But this one feels like a solid package. There really isn't any one big flaw that would make me want to not recommend this vehicle. So let's wait for how the price is and let's see how it fares in the market. I would love to know your thoughts on what you thought about this vehicle, and if you would buy something like this at the price point, which is supposedly going to be around 60 lakh rupees. Now, if you want more information on this vehicle, about the price and other cars and bikes, make sure that you follow our website, you follow our social channels, and you subscribe to this channel as well. Today's video did take a little bit of finding, did take a little bit of effort to make, so it would be really lovely if you could hit that like button as well and comment it down below if you have any other questions. Until the next time, this is Akash Paul signing off, hoping that you stay safe and ride safe and drive safe when you're on the road. Bye bye.